Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining me for another video. This week I want to dive into 3 tips to help you manage yourself when you are dealing with someone who's narcissistic. So the very first thing is learn how to manage your expectations. And this sounds very simple. Okay, I'll lower the bar on what I expect this person to do and be because I know that they're not capable, but people really struggle with this. And the reason why they struggle with it is because they themselves are a good, healthy person and they want to believe that in the other person. They want to believe that the other person is a nice, caring person. And unfortunately, when we come from that place, in my personal opinion, I think that sometimes that's a naive way of living because not everyone is a good, kind person. I also see where people get really tripped up is in these obsessive thoughts trying to figure out this person. So why did they do what they do? Why are they this way? And this obsessive thought with trying to understand why someone is the way they are, and this obsessive thought or obsessive way of thinking gets them stuck on this hamster wheel and never really accepting this person for who they are. So a narcissist will always show you who they are based on their actions, because even if you are dealing with someone who is a nice narcissist, they're always going to resort back to that egotistical, selfish, unreasonable, relentless, abusive behavior at some point. And it's your job to see this person and see their pattern. So if you're dealing with someone who's healthy and takes responsibility for themselves, then the pattern will be, maybe not every single time they're gonna be a perfect human being and say the right things and do the right things. No, they're gonna mess up from time to time. They might say something that is hurtful because they themselves were upset, but they will own their part in the relationship, own the stuff that they did, in the dynamic between you two, and it will resolve itself over time. Where this person is, when you're dealing with someone who's narcissistic, that will never happen because they'll never take responsibility for their own actions, and they'll always project that stuff, that baggage, those inner wounds that they themselves have, which is severe, deep insecurity, onto someone else. There are 2 phrases that when I was going through situations where I've had to deal with someone who's narcissistic or even someone who's just really toxic and unhealthy, my aunt used to say 2 things to me, and though these 2 phrases always stuck with me. Number 1, you can't make sense out of nonsense. So it allowed me to not be so obsessive with my thinking and trying to figure out this person and why they are the way they are, and me wanting to really believe that this person was a good person. I had to understand that while the core of them, right, because we're all love, while the core of them might be love, there's a huge wall that's in front of that part of themselves that's their defense mechanism. And that's that narcissism right there. That narcissism will never let that wall go down in order to get to the core of that person, because they're so scared and they've been so damaged and they've been so abused on some level that that wall is there to stay. And it's almost impossible really to get that wall down. So because of that, you can't make sense out of nonsense. You can believe that everyone is good, but when someone's showing you who they are, it doesn't matter if you can see through to someone and you know that everyone's a good, loving person. When someone's showing you that they're not treating you the way that you deserve to be treated, it doesn't even matter. It's irrelevant. The other phrase that she always would say to me is, "Don't try to get water from a rock." And that just always stuck in me. So every time I had to interact with this person, the minute the door opened, the minute I went into their office, the minute I had to pick up the phone and call them, whatever interaction it was, even over email, whenever I got the email back, I had to know that I cannot expect this person to do the right thing, to say the right thing, and I had to remind myself time and time again. Where it became tricky was when they would show me bits and pieces of being normal, where they would show me like moments when they're trying to be reasonable, or when they were trying to say the right thing and do the right thing. And I had to know that there's always an agenda with this person, because at the end of the day, whatever good they're giving you, it's just because they want something in return. So the next tip is practicing having good boundaries with this person, because this person is going to constantly want to violate a boundary. They're going to constantly want to tiptoe on what is acceptable and not acceptable. So knowing what you want, how you want to be treated, being able to verbally communicate that with another person, and then disengaging. So this is where, in order to be a really powerful, self-loving, confident person when you're dealing with someone who's narcissistic, because that ego is huge. And they are completely egotistical. They constantly think that they're right. They're manipulative. I mean, we can go down the list forever with this, but the point is that you have to be self-loving. And in order to be self-loving, you have to be able to really protect yourself. And by protecting yourself, what I mean by that is really just protecting your energy. So when I talk about self-parenting, you have to imagine that you are the child and you are the parent to your own child, to that inner child, and you need to protect that child. So anytime, you wouldn't send a child into have an interaction with someone who's completely abusive. Absolutely not. You would tell that child, you stand behind me and I'm gonna handle this situation. And in order to handle the situation, you have to be able to verbally communicate with another human being, but also hold on to yourself and keep yourself intact. So we're not going to, this is where we start working on how to respond to someone versus reacting to someone. This is where we begin to work on, are we overly explaining ourselves because we want someone to be okay with our decision and what we have to say? And that's something that when you start to do those two things, react versus respond, or overly explain yourself, what you're doing is you're lowering your vibration. You're showing this other person, hey, I'm not really confident in who I am and what I have to say, and so I'm gonna fight back with you. Or I'm gonna overly explain myself because I don't want to get any backlash from you, and so I want you to think that my decision is okay and not give me any grief for it. When it doesn't matter how you say it, the way you say it, where you say it, when you say it, the little bow that you put on it before you say it, a narcissist is never going to like what you have to say if it is not what they want to hear. So overly explaining yourself or getting emotionally entangled in something and starting to really engage with this person is a waste of your time, energy, and you're still not going to get the outcome that you want. One of the things that's really beneficial when you are in this process is knowing the tactics of abuse that this person likes to use on you. So for me, one of the people that I've had to deal with in the past is really manipulation or a lot of guilt. So those two things would constantly be thrown at me time and time again in order for me to be more flexible with my boundaries and really just to let my wall down so they can come in and abuse me. So I had to learn, okay, what is the drink of choice that this person likes to use on me? And so when you start to understand the other person and really their go-to tactics, then when they start to give you some manipulation or guilt or anything like that, you immediately recognize it and you can stop it right away and not even engage with it. So it's when you don't know that, this is what this person's trying to do, that you don't have confidence in yourself, that you begin dealing with the manipulation, or when someone starts guilting you, that you cave and you give in to what it is they want because they were able to make you feel bad about the decisions that you want. One of the things that is so powerful about boundaries, especially when you're dealing with someone who's toxic, because anyone that's in your life that's healthy, they're going to respect your boundaries. But someone who is really abusive and toxic and relentless and wants what they want and will go, after it no matter what, is you not engaging with them to a certain point. So you say your piece, you detach from the conversation, and that's you really honing in on your power. So the minute you start over-explaining, the minute you start engaging with someone else, you have now given your power to someone else, and now they're holding it. And now what's going to happen is that energy, that vibration that you had that was so high, it immediately drops. And what you want to do is keep a high vibration, because anyone who's narcissistic doesn't want to be around anyone that is self-loving, that is confident, that is healthy, because you're not the person that they're going to be able to abuse. What I get often from people, and I have been there myself, is when people say, well, I'm really working on boundaries, and they're still relentless, they're still abusive, it's not working. When I tell you this is a process, and this isn't just, okay, we're gonna do this one time and the narcissistic bully is going to get it and just leave you alone. No, this takes time, constant time and time again of you standing up for yourself in a healthy way, in order to show this person that you are no longer the punching bag, you are no longer the person that's gonna get manipulated or made to feel guilty for your decisions, that you know how to hold on to yourself and you keep that vibration high. That person over time is going to eventually leave you alone, because you're not someone that's bendable. You're not someone that they can abuse. And when they, try to do this time and time again, they're just going to get frustrated and move on to someone else so they can get what they want from that person. So the last thing is learn how to deal with the backlash. And the reason why I say this is because as you are going through the process of enforcing your boundaries and you are doing this time and time again, what's going to happen is the narcissist is going to get extremely angry because number one, if they're used to a certain you, they're used to a certain personality within yourself, and they've been able to manipulate you and abuse you for so long, if you start standing up for yourself in any way, shape, or form, they are not gonna like that, and you are going to be the target of some serious backlash. The reason why you get backlash is because you have caused a narcissistic injury. So basically what an injury is just a bruise to the ego. So either they didn't get what they want, you didn't say what they wanted to hear out of you, you're not mirroring back, the image of themselves that they wanna see, etc., etc. It's basically just a child throwing a tantrum. That's essentially what it is. You're not giving them the toy at the store, and so now they're gonna go on the floor and start kicking and screaming. The backlash that you receive, again, depending on what it is, because some could be very severe and some could be just minor that you can kind of brush off, but they're going to do something at some point that really is going to cut you. So they know exactly what to do in order to really get under your skin, to cut you at your knees, to hurt you. So you have got to learn how to self-soothe. You have got to learn how to hold on to yourself. This is no easy task because you're dealing with someone who has absolutely no empathy. That's why I always say, to go toe-to-toe with one, it's really, to me, it's a waste of time. And even if you could do it with emotionally having a wall up and not be hurt by anything that they're doing or saying to you, then great. But still, you're going toe to toe with a child, and that's lowering your own vibration. So I always looked at this instance as learning how to handle the backlash was me learning how to really self-soothe, was really that no matter what this person was saying or doing, reminding myself of who I am and that I'm able to take care of myself, and reminding myself that what they're doing has nothing to do with me, even though it's an attack at me. And that was something that really helped me, was to accept and understand that time and time again, that this person was unfortunately suffering so bad inside and they couldn't manage that themselves, and so they had to put that anger, frustration, sadness, whatever it is, that feeling of being out of control onto someone else. And unfortunately for you, for me, for many of us at times, that all gets targeted right at us. Now again, some people have been in relationships for years where they're constantly dealing with backlash, or you might think at times like, hey, look, the backlash that this person is giving me, it's unbearable, it's too much at times. And I totally understand because I have been there. But the point of all of this channel, of learning how to love yourself, of learning how to have confidence and take care of yourself and parent yourself and soothe yourself, really being mentally and emotionally healthy, because that's what this channel is about. It's not just about learning how to deal with this toxic person and let me give you all of the traits of someone who's narcissistic. All of that stuff is great. But when someone is really testing you time and time again, this is your opportunity to practice all of this stuff. So you might sit here and think I can't believe I have to deal with this person all the time, and why me, and why is this happening to me? But really, this person is the best teacher that you could ever have, because all of the abuse that you're getting from this person, they're giving you a test over and over and over again for you to learn how to practice doing this stuff. So every opportunity that I ever had with this person, I got to a place where I just said, look, if I have to deal with this person, I'm gonna get something out of it. And every time I had to interact with this person, I had to learn how to stand firm, how to not give in, how to deal with manipulation, how to set boundaries, how to enforce boundaries, how to disengage completely, how to create that bubble. I had to learn how to respond constantly and never react. This was all stuff that I had to learn time and time again. So I know the situation at times might be difficult, but I'm telling you, go into these interactions as something that is beneficial to you and gain something from this terrible experience that you have to have. So I hope that this video has helped you. If you have liked it, please do not forget to give it a thumbs up. Please comment down below, and I will see you next week.